Hi everybody, Christie here from Israel Update again. Yesterday I went live talking to you a little bit about the situation in Israel right now. And today I just wanted to explain to anybody who might not be totally aware of what the big deal is, what the law is that's been passed in terms of judicial reform. There's been riots, there's been protests. The citizens of Israel have been protesting against this for many, many weeks. And Dubi and I are going to talk a lot more about this on Friday's show. So make sure you tune into israelupdate.org on Friday to get the latest update of what's going on. And Dubi obviously has a lot more insight than I do, but a really quick summation and an explanation for anybody who might not know what this is about. Israel as a nation is not founded on a constitution. They don't have a constitution like the United States does. So there's a series of laws that are there in effect to govern the nation. And what this judicial reform law has passed is basically limiting the capacity of the Israeli Supreme Court to weigh in on certain government decisions. Now, one side of it I understand because it's been very, very difficult for whichever party has been in power in Israel to actually pass legislation because so many of the parties fight amongst each other and you need coalitions in order to actually have a majority to get laws formed. So often Israel ends up in a gridlock when nothing gets done and no new legislation is able to be passed. For instance, one of the things Benjamin Netanyahu's really been wanting to do is continue the building of Israeli houses in the West Bank area, which of course we support. But the problem, the other side of this, is that by limiting the power of the Supreme Court to weigh in on government decisions, the possibility of corruption now would exist. Because if something happens in what American terms would be unconstitutional, it's basically a law that's called the Reasonable Act. And so beforehand, let's say a slightly corrupted person was appointed to a member of the Israeli Knesset, the Supreme Court could weigh in and say, we don't want this person leading because they have shown to have a character of corruption. We don't want them being able to lead the country. And they say it's unreasonable for somebody that's shown to have a corrupt moral character to be in any sort of governmental position. This law would restrict their powers so that they can't weigh in on decisions like that. Now, when it's a leader like Benjamin Netanyahu, it's safe because he's not going to do anything crazy. But the problem is we don't know who's going to come after him. We don't know what party's going to be in power after him. And so it does definitely open the door to the potential for more corruption because then the government could, in essence, just say, well, this is what we're going to do. And nobody would be able to weigh in. It's like the high court of the land whose job is there really to make sure that everything's run morally. In essence, theoretically, that's what it's there for. It would be limiting their capacity and limiting their power. And that's obviously something dangerous because the far end of that spectrum would be opening the door to something that ultimately isn't democratic. Now, again, I'm not concerned about that with Benjamin Netanyahu. Of course I'm not. But if another government were to come into power, if another party were to come into power and somebody who was more corrupt and leaned more towards the corruption route were to come into play and this law was still in essence there, it would give room for more and more corruption. So it's a complicated issue. It's not a black and white issue. There's merit to both sides of it, but there's danger to both sides as well. So I'm going to get with Dubi this week. We're going to talk more about what this means, how it's going to impact people, how it's going to impact things. And so I'm encouraging you, stay tuned with us, keep watching. I'm going to have Dubi jump on a live with me one of the days this week. And I'm also obviously going to have him join me to talk more about this on the show on Friday. But obviously what's going on in Israel impacts all of us. We know how important Israel is to God. We know how important it is for, just biblically, prophetically, we know how important it is. And so I'm encouraging you to pray for peace. I'm encouraging you to pray for God's will to be done in the nation at this time. And I'm going to keep going live, so keep checking in with us, see what's going on. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to email us, israelupdate@houseofdestiny.org, and Dubi and I will be able to answer some questions for you, either on a live together or on the show on Friday. But I'm encouraging you, stay involved, get involved with what we're doing. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to try and answer them for you. If I'm unable to, I have no doubt Dubi will be able to. So this week, let me encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for the protection of the Israeli people. Pray that the enemies of Israel, that the plans that they have to come in during this time of dissension, that those plans that are made in darkness would be brought into the light. And let's continue to trust that the will of God would be done in the nation of Israel. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you for standing with us. Keep checking in because we're going to keep bringing you the latest breaking news with what's going on in Israel. God bless you guys.